LCS begins in 12 days of this recording. And you know what that means. It's time to talk about Fantasy LCS once again. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that I haven't really seen discussed all that often. And that's building your fantasy roster to win. So what do I mean by that? Of course, everyone wants to win. What I mean by that is that there are two kinds of philosophies you can approach your fantasy draft with, right? And that's you can draft to not lose. You can draft consistently and safely based on known quantities. And especially if you're drafting with randoms, you can pretty much guarantee yourself getting third place. I believe this one was fourth. Yes, fourth place. You can pretty much guarantee yourself a spot in the upper half of the table if you just draft safely, consistently. You only draft based on teams that you think with relatively high certainty are going to be pretty good. Or you could draft riskily, and you could draft to win as opposed to not lose. And sometimes these risks don't always work out. Sometimes you get kind of screwed by them and you get a sixth place finish. But other times, you get the big win, right? The big W. And that's what this is all about, right? In your 8-man drafts, how do you be the winner as opposed to one of the 7 losers? So we're going to go over that today. This time around, with the all-new rosters we have for 2017, we have the NA and EU ones here. So let's talk about how we would build our roster to win as opposed to not lose. So your first 2 rounds, the first 2 picks of your draft, are going to be the same as if you were drafting to not lose, right? You're going to draft your consistent, big point earners here. You have to have these, and you have to have them first because they're going to be gone super quick. And this time around, it's going to be players from Cloud9, from TSM, and in Europe, it's going to be players from G2 and Splice. The reason for this is that these were obviously the number 1 and number 2 teams in both of their regions, and they've retained all, if not most, of their players, right? Only one change on Cloud9 and TSM. And these are going to be your first 2 picks because they're consistent. They're going to get you a lot of points. They're going to be top-tier picks. You need to pick these first to give yourselves kind of the backbone of your roster, the consistent, solid point earners that are going to keep you in the running. Now, your 3rd and 4th round picks, right? These are the picks that are going to decide whether or not you win your league, right? These are the most kind of vital. This is where a lot of the risk-taking comes into effect. So if you were drafting safely and consistently, right, this is where in the draft you would maybe pick up some CLG players, or you would get TL players, or you would get H2K players, or UOL players. The reason for this is that these teams are teams that I don't think their floor is very low. I think with relative certainty, these 4 teams are going to end up somewhere in the middle of the table. I don't think they really have a chance to blow the doors off of their respective leagues. But I think they're going to be consistently good teams, right? These are teams that are pretty safe picks for your 3rd and 4th round drafts. Or, if you're drafting to win, and your 3rd and 4th picks are going to be risky pickups, right? Instead of Darshan or Odo or something, I'm going to pick Someday from Dignitas, right? Because Dignitas is a team that has massive upside, that has a very high ceiling. If Dignitas comes together, they can be a top 3 team in the NALCS. I believe that, I do. And if they don't, they're going to be like a bottom 6, 7 team. So this is a team that you can make a really big risk on. Because on your 3rd round draft, if you pick Someday, then maybe on your 4th pick, you get like Lot as your flex. Or you get Chaser as your jungler, right? Then suddenly you have a team where your first 2 picks were consistent point earners that that you pretty much know with almost certainty they're going to get you points almost every time. And then your next 2 picks are from Dignitas, a team that may be top tier and maybe won't be. And so if it works out and Dignitas comes together and Dignitas does really well, suddenly my first 4 picks were all top tier picks. Which is insane. That's what you need to win your fantasy league. And if it doesn't work out, you get screwed. But this is what I mean when I talk about drafting to win. So these risky teams that may be great and may be garbage that I would look out for are teams like Dignitas, teams like Immortals from Europe, teams like Misfits or Fnatic or Vitality. These are teams that I feel like if they come together and if they do well, these can be very, very good teams. They can do very well in their respective regions that people might not be expecting them to do as well. And so, drafting these kinds of players as opposed to the safer picks like CLG or like UOL, this is what I mean by drafting to win, as opposed to drafting not to lose. So, I'm going to be doing a couple more of these videos in the coming 2 weeks before LCS begins. And when Fantasy actually starts, I'm going to do a couple live drafts to show you what I mean. So, check back for more of those Fantasy videos, and I will see you next time. Terrible at outros. Deal with it.